that is? Why do you think it is that in 2030, which is not that far away, 45% of women aged 25 to 40 are going to be single and childless? I mean, I will say that society as a whole has made it very challenging to have children. Children are expensive, and it's barely, we're barely able to keep a roof over our head because of the salaries and minimum wage. I mean, you can get into all of that. But I think the underlying unspoken truth is that a lot of women don't want a man who isn't a man.
No, the underlying truth is that feminism gave them what they was asking for. And now when they say men are not being men, it's basically saying that men are not going out there and working to provide. But they already ruined the money market where everything is way more expensive because they can get way more labor now. Therefore, even if every man said, you know what, I'm going to work 70 hours a week, you still won't be able to take care of a woman and family by yourself.
And society as a whole, and we see this, and I see this in the comment section of that video 1,000 times over, most men aged like 35 to 65 blame women for everything. It's a woman's fault that a man abandons his child. No, it's not. It's a man's fault for not stepping up, taking accountability, and being a part of his child's life. It's not a woman's fault. It's not. Ever.
And that's the sad part, because it's actually a woman's fault in a lot of these scenarios. The thought process of thinking that it's never a woman's fault is weird. Now, of course, they have some deadbeat dads that just deadbeats, but then again, the woman laid down with the guy, so you get up with the fleas you get up with. And there are a lot of men trying to see their kids, but can't see their kids because the women weaponizes the kid in the system. Kicking the man out the house so you can get welfare, so you can have benefits for yourself. You start to realize that later on that welfare isn't that great because you're still stuck in a vicious cycle of needing the government. They say you don't need a man, yeah, but you need the government. And then you try to kick the man out to get child support, don't want him to see his kid, and then realize that raising a kid by yourself is actually kind of hard. So although these are the same people that use the government and use the state to penalize men for doing things that they do not like, they end up being the people complaining about the men not being around so they can continue to abuse.
Ever. You can go to court. I don't care if it costs $200 million to get access to your child. If you have a child, you should be doing anything and everything to be a part of their lives.
That's the problem right there. They want to use the system to hurt men because they physically cannot do that. So therefore, they have to use some type of aggression towards it. And when that aggression doesn't work, she tries to go back to the verbal aggression. Why should a man have to do that? She don't see that's a problem, that a man has to spend $200 million or whatever he don't want to spend in order to just see his kid. Instead of her just saying, like, woman, why wouldn't you allow a man to see his kid? Every woman can tell you exactly what a man is supposed to do, but have no clue what a woman is supposed to do.
Women are recognizing that men just don't want to be a part of their child's life. Men want to have children as like a trophy and then leave it to a woman to take care of that child. They're not participating. They're not putting in an effort as a parent. I'm not saying all men, okay? So stop with that trope. But a lot of men and a lot of women ages 25 to 40, although I think that says 44, they're recognizing this as well. And they're saying, you know what? I would rather opt out of that. I don't want to be like my mom. I don't want to be stressed all the time. See what their mother had to deal with, and they don't want that. And I see that my oldest girlfriend didn't want kids because she saw that her dad abandoned her family.
They'll always say that the man just abandoned the family. Now, in some cases, of course, men just did whatever they did. And they were the people that the mother slept with. So they already knew what they was getting out of that deal. The men, if they were good men, the women usually drive these men away from their kids. And they won't see it because they were young at the time. So now you have these instances where women are keeping kids away from men, as she just explained. So if a woman is keeping kids away from men, and then now you want to go back and call the man a deadbeat for you keeping the kids away from him is crazy. And a lot of women that opt out of motherhood, it'd be complete bullshit. A lot of women have problems conceiving a child. If a woman is 40 years old and she end up getting pregnant, the odds of her ending that pregnancy on her own is very, very slim. Because the odds of women not having unprotected scenarios or not popping up pregnant at all, especially when they had longer relationships, is very slim. And I always find it weird when people be in relationships over the span of years and not one pregnancy, or did you just end all of them? I don't believe that.
And her mother, and disappeared. And she doesn't want to be her mom. She doesn't want to be put in a position to where she has to do everything on her own. So women are noticing that. And they're saying, you know what? I'm going to choose to not have children because I know already that whoever I choose, the percent of that person just leaving and walking away and not participating is extremely high. And who is to blame for that? If we're going to put any blame on anybody, who is to blame for that?
I'm going to tell you right now, it's the woman, because you get to pick every single man. And for every woman with the deadbeat baby father, there are hundreds of men that would have been there, even if it wasn't with her, just for the child. To think no matter who you had a baby with, no matter who you laid down with, it automatically was going to result in you being a single mother is weird. That means you're a major problem that you don't even see. I find it hard for women to be in relationships with guys for months and years, and then that man just end up being a deadbeat. That means you knew what you was getting before. Or maybe you're just a poor picker. They never go to that fact that maybe I'm just a poor picker. Maybe I don't know who I should be sleeping with. Maybe I need help and guidance to figure out who I should lay down with. Because it seems to me that they cannot pick. They would rather say that all men are bad. Most men are going to leave their kids, because if they don't say that, then they would have to put the responsibility and accountability on their actions and what they do.
Fathers who are not raising their boys to be men. The lack of role models, the lack of male role models. The idea that let's continue to push patriarchy even though patriarchy is not working in our society anymore. All of that. And all of that is men. It's all based on men. But they don't want to own it. They don't want to admit it. It's much easier to be, to place the blame on someone else, make it women's fault. It's not. It is men's fault. And that sucks to hear that. But if you start owning it, things will change.
I also find it weird when she talks about the patriarchy not working. As you see, her house looks beautiful. I can guarantee you that all was built by men. About 100% of them was built by men. The chairs that she got, the phone that she's holding, everything that she got going on in her life that's not working comes from the patriarchy. The problem is with these women, they take a tiny percent of men, which is at the top, the men that are saying government, the president, or whatever it is, and they try to extrapolate whatever they do to all men. That would just be like you going to China and they say, you know what, we don't like you Americans because y'all don't like us and y'all throw tariffs on us, and you're sitting there as an American. Keep in mind, probably half the country is probably Democrats. Like, what are you talking? I didn't vote for. I didn't want that. I didn't vote for that. I don't even know what you're talking about. And the rest of the Americans is like, no, I don't really think that it was me that said to do that. And then it will be a subsection of people to be like, yeah, we need to even the playing fields. That's a subsection of the United States. They'll look at it and say, I don't like Americans, you Americans. Be like, what are you talking about? We don't know nothing about that. I don't know what's going on. I'm just the average American walking around. But they don't look at it like that. They look at it like you're just American. The same way these women look at it like you're a man like the leader is a man. That doesn't even make sense. Enough matriarchies with a lot of women starting to be in order, they're going to like, no. You hookers going to have to work. We don't really care about that, because the woman is not going to be this sweet, sensitive, stay-at-home mom that bake cookies. She's going to be masculine. And then that's the trait that they're talking about when they say the patriarchy. They're talking about a masculine person doing masculine things. A woman, especially if you look at like a businesswoman, she's going to be just as masculine, if not more masculine, than the presidents. If Tim Walz ever became president, it's going to be so many other women that's going to beat him in masculinity by far. It's going to be so many women that's going to be more aggressive than Joe Biden by far. You might even get a woman that's more aggressive than Donald Trump by far, because masculinity is the things that run things, logic, reasoning, making things happen. That is masculinity. So although even if we got a woman and a woman came in, she would have to be masculine or deal with the masculine burden in order to run something. In the patriarchy in the United States, men put women on pedestals. Women don't have to do the things that men do. However, still get the benefits that men get. It's nothing that a man gets that a woman doesn't get. It's nothing that a man do that a woman can't do. But at the end of the day, the men still receive the blame and the onus of everything. The same thing she's doing this in the exact video, putting all the blame on men. All the onus, all the leadership, all the quality, everything that she's saying is for men to do. Although women can do the exact same thing.
They call her the cat lady.